I'd like to be more creative, to have more intuition. Will meditation help me develop this way? Yes, it will. The more you become calm, the more you feel in tune with the infinite and with infinite guidance, the more you find that if you offer up your desire to create to Him, He will be able to give you something really creative. Most so-called creativity is just a rearranging of other people's inspiration. I know somebody said to me years ago he wanted to write music, and his music was very imitative. And I said, why don't you stay here? He wanted to go off and join some group that would help him with recording and so on. I said, why don't you stay here? You'll develop much more creativity that way. But he said, well, you know how it is. When you've got to create, something forces you to. I said, I don't know how it is. I have never felt obliged to do anything that I've done in this life. I could never have written a note of music. I've written over 400 pieces of music. I could never have written any of them. I would be perfectly happy. I saw this as a way of serving God, and I gave to God. I'd have a desire to write a piece of music that expressed this feeling or that feeling, whatever, and I would ask God for the solution, and it would come to me in an instant. I remember before I met my guru, I wanted to be a playwright. I'd be sitting at my typewriter, page 1, chapter 1. I just couldn't think what to write. After I met him, and some years after, he told me to write, but then I found the inspiration just flowed. I couldn't keep up with it. The more you are in tune with God, the more you find that you can be truly creative. Actually, you don't create anything in the final sense. The thought, I want to create, is a delusion. God didn't create this universe. He manifested it out of His consciousness. But we can help Him to manifest through us beautiful works if we offer these works and this wish up to Him. I believe God has put us in this world to improve this world. I told the story the other day of this priest who said to an Irish farmer, what a beautiful farm you and God have made here. And the priest said, the farmer said, well, Father, you may be right, but you should have seen it when God had it all to Himself. God doesn't do things except through instruments. He even creates the universe through instruments, through already freed souls. And that's why in the Bible it said, let us make man in our image. They're higher souls that have created man, that have created the material cosmos. But anyway, the point is that God finally doesn't create, He just manifests. And He manifests different states of consciousness. And everything you see around you is, in a sense, a manifestation of a state of consciousness. I know that when Swami Kriyananda, who recently left his body, when he was visiting us at Ananda, he saw a few rakes and brooms and things lying on the ground. He said, put them away, because if the ground is neat, you'll attract angels, angelic forces. If it's dirty and disorderly, you will attract rakshasas, lower entities. And this is the truth. We need to become channels of the higher forces. I believe that we are in a time of great warfare on an astral plane where the good and darkness are strongly pitted against one another. And our duty should be to try to fight on the side of the good. Fighting on the side of the good does not mean picking up a gun and shooting. It means shedding more light on the world, bringing more joy into the world, helping to bring to other people's lives an aspiration for God and for higher truths. Anything you do, if it's in the way of art, let it be uplifting. The art of the 20th century, and I suppose it's still going on, although I've pretty well dropped out of the scene. But look at it. It doesn't say anything. Picasso with his eyes going this way and nose going that way, all sorts of distorted visions. It may have value, but it's a demonic value. You must think that your art can express something that will uplift other people. That should be your bottom line, your premise in performing, in creating anything. And if you can't do that, why not wait a while until you've meditated and reached the point where you feel some inspiration, and then ask God to inspire you. You'll find that He can inspire you, and that your work then will become really beautiful.